This is the book of Obadiah, chapter 1, verse 7 through 8 in the NLT. All of your allies will turn against you. They will help to chase you from your land. They will promise you peace while plotting to deceive and destroy you. Your trusted friends will set traps for you, and you won't even know about it. And at that time, not a single wise person will be left in the whole land of Edom, says Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, for on the mountains of Edom I will destroy everyone who has understanding. And the mightiest warriors of Teman will be terrified, and everyone on the mountains of Edom will be cut down in the slaughter. Shalom, shalom. Before I begin this lesson, I want to give all praise, honor, and the glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakah HaKodash. Double honors to the apostles, bishop, and elders, a great millstone that rule well, and peace and blessing be multiplied on all you brethren that's teaching this word in all sincerity and in truth. Shalom to the elect, 144,000, and the rest of the elect out there. Shalom. I'm the brother Damal Gibar with another lesson, Lord willing to edify through the spirit and power of Yahweh Yahweh Shai. All right, and as Obadiah stated, the allies of Esau, the allies of America and Trump, and those tiny tops, they're all turning against Babylon the Great. You see, and it's all because of this, this war that America and the state of Israel has waged against Iran. And it was, they're just basically just loose cannons. They're basically just out there moving and operating without, consulting their allies, without having any, strategic plan in place. And, the actions of America and Israel have left a lot of NATO members and a lot of the EU members in a very difficult situation to where they're suffering economically. Now they're suffering through, getting natural gas, through getting oil, through getting energy, through getting certain supplies that they were getting through the Strait of Hormuz when there was somewhat, peace between, between America and Iran, when they had negotiations before shit hit the fan. But now you have it to where, a lot of America's allies and basically the whole world is suffering because of these two countries, America and the state of Israel. And a lot of these allies and a lot of these nations are pissed off, to the point to where, they're suffering heavily because of the unwarranted and the, proud actions of America and the state of Israel, to where now a lot of these NATO nations and European nations are getting hit hard by this, by Iran closing the Strait of Hormuz, by the price of oil and gas and the price of energy that is being affected, from this, from this war, from these conflicts, man. And now we're seeing a lot of the allies of America are turning against them. They're not allowing them to, use their military bases or set up operation in their countries to fight this war against Iran because, they're pretty much fed up with America, man. They're because America has been putting a lot of its allies in very difficult situations that they don't want to be in. A lot of these European nations in NATO, they depend heavily upon the Strait of Hormuz. They depend heavily upon natural gas and oil from Russia and from Iran and from these different, Gulf states to keep their countries afloat, through other business ventures and things of that nature. And now it's starting to have a very dramatic effect on a lot of the allies of America. So, in return, a lot of these allies of America are not, allowing America to use their, military bases to strike and to go at Iran. They're telling them, look, we ain't feeling what you're doing. We ain't for this war. You need to chill. You know what I mean? This shit is going to get out of control. And basically, you're going to get all of us involved in this shit that we don't want to be involved in. And you're going to get a lot of people killed. And you're going to basically bring in a thermonuclear war. So, hey, we can see these prophecies coming to pass. We can see America being hated from his allies. And eventually, these allies of America are going to have to eventually, stab America in the back. They're going to have to make deals that's best for their country and for their economy and for them to survive. And they're going to eventually, set snares and traps and basically backstab Babylon the Great. as prophecy foretells, and we can see it all coming to place. So I'm going to read some of this article. It's really long, so I'm not going to read all of it, but I'm going to try to read quickly. Lord willing, you can be edified. But it says, this is from Bloomberg. It says, Donald Trump's NATO allies are increasing resistance to getting involved in his Iran war, risking a deeper rupture in the already strained military bloc. You see? It says Spain closed its airspace to U.S. jets Monday, and Italy denied U.S. military aircraft bound for the Middle East permission to land at a base in Sicily, according to a person familiar with the matter. Poland said it has no plans to relocate its Patriot batteries, following a report that U.S. has suggested Warsaw consider sending one of its systems to shore up air defenses in the Middle East. You see, and these nations are like, hell no, man, we ain't getting involved in this shit. You know, this shit is doing enough damage already. We're suffering enough. And ultimately, you didn't even consult us on going to war and doing what you're doing. You just went out there on your own, and you were expecting us to just go along with it and to, be a good ally when, as of late, you haven't really been a good ally to us. Trump has been cussing out NATO. He's been cussing out the European Union. Oh, he was putting sanctions on them and shit. So it's like, here it is. You're doing all this dirt to me, but then you want me to turn around and be a loyal ally to you. And, when you come to, to answer to every beckoning call, and they're like, we ain't doing that shit, man. You need to sit your ass down somewhere. We've had enough, man. You're putting all of us in a situation that we don't want to be in. And we're the ones that's suffering the most from all of this shit. So, they're kind of sticking the middle finger up at America. You see, it says on Tuesday, the U.S. president posted on social media his unhappiness with France's refusal to allow planes with military supplies use its airspace. The U.S. will remember, Trump wrote. You see, he's coming, acting like a little bitch, acting like a little spoiled brat, acting like a little, a little asshole. Oh, you don't want to help me. I'm not going to help you. But nigga, you put him in these fucked up situations. Here it is, as the information is coming out, Trump and his cabinet and Israel, they didn't really think this shit through. They just rushed into this situation thinking that, it was going to be some type of Venezuela type of situation where they just go in, obliterate, bomb, and Iran was going to surrender. But little did they know, Iran's been preparing for this for this war for 20 years, man. And now they have the upper hand. Now, they got, they were ready. They planned. They were very strategic in how they were going to, get involved in this situation. And it's causing everybody to suffer. You see? And it's putting a lot of American allies in very, very tight situations, man. Like right now in Australia, hey, they're panic buying over there. The shelves are fucking empty. There's not a lot of their oil rationing, energy rationing all over the country because of the foolhardiness and pride of America and those tiny tops. You see? And these allied nations are suffering too. So they're like, look, man, we ain't fucking getting involved no more with this shit. You've done enough, man. All right? Your pride and your hubris is going to get basically it's screwing all of us, man. And on top of that, you have no plans of de-escalating the situation. All right. You were the aggressor. You attacked. You're not responding defensively. And you want us to be on this offensive attack with you against Iran. And we're not doing it, man. You see, and it's leaving America and its only ally, the tiny tots, very isolated, which is all scriptural at the end of the day, man. And it's beautiful to see. It says European leaders have been walking a fine line since the U.S. and Israel launched their war on Iran on February 28th. They hope to avoid antagonizing the U.S. commander-in-chief and keep him from undermining Ukraine's war efforts against Russia. After initially rebuffing Trump's calls for help to secure passage through the Strait of Hormuz, they have since coalesced around an offer to build a coalition to enforce freedom of navigation in the key passage after the end of the active combat. But it was too late to avoid Trump's fury. You see, Secretary of State Marco Rubio was softer behind closed doors at a group of 7 gathering last week in France, making no concrete demands in supporting this initiative, Bloomberg reported. Yet on Monday, he said the U.S. may need to reassess its relationships with NATO after the Iran war and called the military alliance response to the U.S. action very disappointing, assailing partners in the North Atlantic Treaty Organization for denying access to military bases because they don't want you. They're tired of you getting them, they don't want you dragging them into this unwarranted war, man. Look at the results that it's having, man. And a lot of these countries are realizing that, they're reassessing their alliance with America because look at the shit they're getting them into. All right. And this is something that they're finally starting to realize. This is Ecclesiasticus chapter 8, verse 15. It says, travel not by the way with a bold fellow, lest he become grievous unto thee. And this is what you see happening. They don't want to travel with America as allies. They want to travel with America down this road and down this path, man, because it's only going to leave them, these NATO nations and European nations, in further straits, man. All right, they're all suffering. They're all getting ready to, have to cut electricity and power and suffer because of the foolhardiness of Babylon for being allied with this bold fellow. It says, lest he become grievous unto thee, for he will do according to his own will, and thou shalt perish with him through his folly. See, that's what you see happening, they're going to perish along with him in his folly. And we can see that happening. And it's only going to intensify as the longer this war is drawn out, man. It says, after Trump lashed out at France on social media, the French presidency expressed surprise at the American's President post. France's position has not changed since day one, and we confirmed this decision, which is consistent with France's position since the start of this conflict, according to a statement from the office of French President Macron. While the U.S. initiated this war in Iran with little to no warning to allies, you see, traveling, being involved with this bold fellow. Like I was saying earlier, they didn't consult with their allies of going into this war. They didn't talk to them about the impacts it could have, whether they didn't ask for NATO's input or the European Union's input. So what do you guys think? Should we do it? Should we not do it? They just fucking did it anyway. And they still expect, these European nations to come to their aid. And they're like, hell no, man. It's kind of like, if you got a bold fellow, you got a friend and he crazy. He's like, hey, man, y'all want to go out? And you're like, hell nah. You're like, nah, I ain't going out, bro. And then, you and the other friends call each other. We're like, hey, did Roger call y'all to go to the bar? Everybody's like, hey, I ain't going with that nigga. That nigga crazy. He always starting some shit, and that's America. And then he goes to the bar, starts some shit. It's like he goes in there, starts all type of shit. As soon as he walk in the bar, he's stepping on people's shoes. He mad dogging. He cussing people out. He getting all drunk and starting fights. That he call y'all, hey man, y'all need to get down here, man. These fools tripping, man. I need y'all to come and have my back. And y'all like, man, I ain't fucking going down there in the first place. I didn't want to go any goddamn way because we didn't want to be with you because you always starting some shit. And here it is. He got some shit started. Now he wants y'all to go down there and get involved in the fray, And you like, man, hell nah, I ain't going down there and getting involved in shit. That's what America is like, man. And this is why you see these allies, man. They're finally, seeing the handwriting on the wall. It says, while the U.S. initiated the war in Iran with little to no warning to allies, its offensive relies heavily on European territory, bases, ports, and airspace. Yet European nations are neither willing to engage in the conflict directly, nor do they have the political latitude to give Trump the support he wants. Closing wide swaths of southern European airspace means bombers operating out of UK would have to take a circuitous path to the Persian Gulf. That adds time and strain on flight crews and requires much more fuel provided by aerial tankers. The U.S. suffered a tanker mishap earlier in the war when a KC-135 crashed in Iraq, killing 6 crew members. You see? So Europe is like, hell no, man, you're doing too much. All right? Because like I said, a lot of these European countries, they wanted to, maintain good relationships with Iran because they know they need that straight. They need that natural gas from Russia, who was actually an ally of Iran. And I saw an article today where now Trump is talking shit. He's telling those European unions, well, if y'all want oil, go take it then. It's like, damn, nigga, he's like, we didn't want to get involved in this war in the first place. We didn't even want to have to see the situation happen. Now you're telling us we need to man up and just go to the Strait of Hormuz and take the oil that we want. Just showing you that this man is completely diabolical, man. And this man is on that Trump and the West, they're fools, man. They're not wise. They don't have wise generals and basically any type of strategic plans in place to get out of this situation, man. This is why you're hearing a lot of talks of now they're going to probably have to nuke Iran because they don't have any other way out. They're not winning this war. They don't have any advantage. They don't have any upper hands. They've totally went in this thing unprepared and you know what I mean? Not very strategically. And now they're suffering. Now they want their allies to help. And ain't nobody coming to your aid, man. You see? It says Europe has skin in the game when it comes to the vital Strait of Hormuz, which Iran closed with threats of retaliation after being attacked by the U.S. and Israel. The critical passageway for energy supplies have been effectively shut since late February, leading oil and gas prices to soar. The conflict is broadly unpopular across Europe, which is already reeling from an inflation surge that stemmed from the war. Leaders have sought to distance themselves from it, stressing that any military involvement so far has been purely defensive, you see? It says, we're seeing evidence of confusion and tension between public opinion and political opinion in many NATO countries, said Ian Lesser, distinguished blah, 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 blah. As a default, there is a tendency to be helpful in Europe regarding military-to-military cooperation with the U.S., but the current war is putting these long-standing defense relationships under strain. You see? Where was the other point? Yep, it says the main focus of U.S. anger has been Spain, which closed its airspace to American flights involved in Iran operations and blocked their use of U.S. bases in Spain. Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez has been one of the most vocal critics of Trump's among European leaders, accusing the U.S. president of starting an illegal war. UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer also faced harsh criticism from Trump after initially rejecting the president's request to allow the U.S. to access the country's military base to help carry out strikes in Iran. You see, because they don't want to be involved. All right, they don't want to have to feel the fury of Iran. You know, they don't want to get hit with nukes. They don't want to get not nukes. They don't want to get hit with missiles. They don't want to get involved. They don't want to suffer no more than they're already suffering. And they don't want to get Russia involved, man. Because why? They're suffering, through that oil not coming to their country, through it's going to, make things more expensive, cause more inflation. It's going to destabilize the country, man. And they're trying to avoid all of that. You see, it says in a similar vein, Portugal has adopted cautious stance on U.S. use of the Lajes Air Base in Azores, granting access under existing bilateral and NATO arrangements while emphasizing it is not a party to the conflict. Lipson has restricted the authorization to logistical support, including refueling and transit rather than offensive operations, framing the move as consistent with domestic law and international obligation. Yet Foreign Minister Paulo Rangel said any authorization is limited to defensive, proportionate operations against military targets, insisted Portugal will not be in this conflict, and clarified that no strike mission has been launched from Azores. Everybody trying to keep their hand clean, Where's the one point I saw? Yeah, you got the Italy too. Where was the other point? Yeah, it says every country that joined NATO did so voluntarily. No one forces. No, where is it? Yep, it says German Chancellor Friedrich Merz has ruled out prohibiting U.S. use of his base in Ramstein, its biggest in Europe. An agreement signed after World War II guarantees the U.S. the use of the site as long as its military operations did not violate national or international law. And them niggas are violating all type of national and international laws. It says that said, Merz, who has sought to curry a close relationship with Trump, has sharply criticized the U.S. attack on Iran. What Trump is doing right now is not de-escalation in an attempt to find a peaceful solution, but a massive escalation with an uncertain income. Basically he's saying that, look, they're not being defensive. They're not being defensive. They're being offensive. They're the ones that's attacking. They're the ones that's being the aggressor, right? All right. And they don't, and all these countries know that America and Israel are violating all type of international law, breaking all type of rules and shit. So they don't want to get involved with it, man. You see? And this is why this place is going to eventually be destroyed, man. All right, they just all over the place. You see, this is Isaiah 19:11. It says, "Surely the princes of Zoan are fools. The counsel of the wise counselors of Pharaoh is become Brutus." See, and this is talking about America, right? America is spiritually Egypt. And the same thing that happened then is happening now to this modern day Pharaoh, man. The counselors of Trump, they're all foolish and brutish, man. They're moving very reckless. Like I said, they don't have any answers, man. They're out there, using the Bible to wage war. They're talking about having a ground invasion in Iran, which everybody is telling them is literally fucking impossible, man. You can't. It's not wise to send ground troops into that rugged terrain of Iran. They've never been conquered. They've never had a ground invasion that can go in there and take over that place, man. It's too mountainous. The terrain is too rugged. And ultimately, Iran's military is too sophisticated for that shit, man. But you got all these different boneheads and losers in the Trump administration that's just rushing in, going full gusto. And they're going to find themselves getting slaughtered, man. It says, how say ye unto Pharaoh, I am the son of the wise, the son of ancient kings. And every time you see Trump on TV, he lie. Oh, Iran is, they want to negotiate. Yeah, we're in talks, and, we gave them a 15-point plan and they accepted all of them. Just lying, man. Every time he gets on TV and talking about this war, he just lies, man. Because why? They don't have any answers. They're brutish, man. Their counselors are not wise. They're no more wisdom in Esau. And he's just going to end up, all he has left is the sword, man. That's it. It says, where are they? Where are thy wise men? And let them tell thee now, and let them know what Yahweh of hosts have purpose upon Egypt. The princes of Zoan are become fools. The princes of Noph are deceived. They have also seduced Egypt, even they that are the stay of the tribes thereof. The Lord have mingled a perverse spirit in the midst thereof, and they have caused Egypt to err in every work thereof, as a drunken man staggereth in his vomit. Neither shall there be any work for Egypt with the head or tail, branch or wash may do. And in that day shall Egypt be like unto women, and it shall be afraid and fear because of the shaking of the hand of Yahweh of hosts, which he shaketh over it, man. You see? And this is getting ready to come here. So it's nothing that America can do. All right? This place is finished. His days is numbered, man. And those that are in positions of power, this administration, are moving very unadvisedly and moving like a bunch of goddamn fools, man. And they're going to find themselves eventually getting majorly touched up, man. And all the allies are going to eventually turn on this place, man. And they're going to, burn this bitch with fire, man. This is Revelation 17 and 15. And he said unto, I'm reading NLT. Then the angel said to me, the waters where the prostitute is ruling represent masses of people of every nation and language. And who's the prostitute? The great whore is America. And who is she sitting on? A prime example is NATO and the EU, her allies, man. You see, she's ruling over these places. But now, hey, they don't want anything to do with this whore, man. All right. And they're going to eventually have to set her up and, give the proper judgment to a whore. It says, the scarlet beast and his 10 horns all hate the prostitute. They will strip her naked, eat her flesh, and burn her remains with fire. Yeah, they're going to eventually turn on America, and they're going to shoot their nukes here on this bitch, when all is said and done. It says, for the Most High has put a plan into their minds, a plan that will carry out his purposes. They will agree to give their authority to the scarlet beast, and so the words of the Most High will be fulfilled. And this woman you saw in your vision represents the great city that rules over the kings of the world, which is Babylon, the great America, man. And this is why Trump is cussing out these different European and NATO nations, because it represents the whore that sitteth over these nations, that rules over them. And this is why he's telling them, oh, you need to get involved. You need to be an ally. You need to come to our aid, but they're like, hell nah, man, because the way you moving is not, it's not ideal, man. Ideal. And it's fucking us over, man. So we ain't want nothing to do with you. And Trump's going to continue to cuss out those NATO members. He's going to continue to scold them, cuss them out. And now he's telling them, look, well, time is going to come. We're not going to forget. We're not going to forget. And when time comes when you need our help, we're not going to come to your aid. So they're basically like, well, fuck you too then. You see? Hey, but eventually, these NATO nations and European nations, they're going to have the upper hand over America. When it's finally isolated and it's left out by itself, and when the Lord put the spirit on them to loose those arrows, hey, this bitch is going to be burnt with fire, man. So we can see the stage being set for these prophecies to come to pass, man. And, hey, it's only going to get worse and worse, and these things are going to eventually come to pass, man. So, hey, with that, Lord willing, that we're edifying, I'm going to give all praise, honor, glory to Yahweh Bashem Shah for putting the spirit in me to do this lesson. Lord willing, you were edified. Shalom.